Tonight on Cougar News, find out why millennials aren't buying houses.
We take a look at how politics are dividing an Arizona family.
And find out why Santa Clarita residents are making blankets from scratch. Cougar News starts now.
This is Cougar News.
Hello everyone and welcome to Cougar News. I'm Leah Rossell.
And I'm Elena Thacker. Here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom. The Santa Ana wind season is upon us, which means fire danger is extremely high. Cougar News reporter Luis Villa has the latest on how the fire department is taking action from the sky.
This year marks the 25th anniversary that the Los Angeles County has leased a pair of Super Scooper aircraft from the Quebec province of Canada. These two aircraft are crucial to helping battle against the fierce fires that burn through Southern California.
Fire season, it's going to be September through November, and that's when the Santa Ana winds really pick up. That makes fighting fires very difficult.
The steep terrain around SoCal makes it difficult to get a jump on brush fires and keep them contained.
The whole purpose of contracting these aircrafts is to keep the fire small. If we keep the fire small, that leads to less structure loss and less people affected, less injuries.
Even though we already have domestic firefighting aircraft, we lease out the Super Scoopers due to the high amount of water that they can draw.
And they helped out by dropping almost 400,000 gallons of water. That's just on last year's fire season. The Super Scooper, it takes it about 5 minutes to get it up in the air, and it only takes 16 seconds to fill up with approximately 1,600 gallons of water.
It goes without saying that the Super Scoopers are a vital tool that help protect us from the constant fires here in SoCal, such as the Rye Fire that burned about 6,000 acres in Santa Clarita last year. So if you ever see the Quebec Super Scoopers, be sure to give them a little wave. For Cougar News, I'm Luis Villa.
Trafficking is not limited to large cities. It hits home right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Cougar News reporter Al Charles Castillo has the latest on how traffickers are using the internet and social media to lure their victims.
3% of the solve of this egregious crime is on law enforcement. 3%, that's it. We make up 3% of the solve.
This was information offered at the It Happens Right Here convention at COC, a day-long seminar for human trafficking prevention. Aside from Santa Clarita's community coming to the event, there were nonprofit organizations as well as the Los Angeles Task Force showing support for the 4th annual convention. Organizers say the internet and social media are the community's strongest tools to combat human traffickers and help law enforcement prevent future cases from occurring.
What's the 90%? 90% are the eyes and ears of the community. So those are the conversations that we're having.
Perhaps one of the most impactful speakers was Harmony Grillo, who offered her experience of being a victim to sexual exploitation.
So September 16th, it was 20 years since I left my exploiter and started a whole new life. So huge, awesome anniversary. And it's crazy. Back then, I never really would have imagined my life being like it is today. Being able to use the pain from my past to help other people, having a healthy marriage and children that are going to be raised in a different kind of environment and context than I was, and I'm so thankful.
Following the convention, Larry Schaller expressed the ultimate goal of what the day offered.
We want people to walk away with some sense of urgency that this is this generation's fight, and we want them to know that they can do something, that they have a role.
Make sure to look out for the next human trafficking convention, possibly spring semester of 2019. For Cougar News, I'm Al Charles Castillo.
A recent survey shows that more millennials think buying a home is just not a good investment. Nick Vaverka takes a closer look.
New homes are popping up all across the Santa Clarita Valley. But with the median home price in the state at around $560,000, you probably won't see a millennial buying a house anytime soon. According to a recent survey by Value Insured Modern Home Buyer, only 48% of millennials think that buying a house is a good investment. Most respondents said that home prices are just too high. 85% are afraid of big down payment costs, something 24-year-old Sophie Sidke sees as a huge roadblock.
based on what I remember from my parents, obviously you have to go out, get a loan, you have to have the credit score for that. Your credit score has to actually be good for a bank to be willing to give you that amount of money. It's hard to maintain a credit score like that right now.
A report from the Urban Institute says roughly 45% of baby boomers and Gen Xers owned homes when they were between the ages of 25 and 34. For millennials, that's just 37%. So if a dismal view of the housing market is turning off young people who'd like to own someday, what are some steps to make that dream a reality?
As soon as you graduate college or as soon as you move out of your parents' house, you should, in this market, you should meet with a mortgage broker. That's somebody that you're going to find at your bank. You should also go to a credit union because they're going to tell you what you can and can't afford, and they're going to have an educated perspective as opposed to you just speculating based on stuff you've seen on the internet.
29-year-old Juan Flores bought his home last year, and though he had some help from family, he believes owning is the way to go.
It is possible. It can be done. I've seen other people do it as well. And if you're renting for the rest of your life, you're never owning anything, and you're really paying off someone else's property. So it's better to invest in yourself and have something that's yours.
For Cougar News, I'm Nick Vaverka.
The next 2 months will spotlight one of the leading causes of death in America. According to the American Cancer Society, nearly 1 in 3 people in the United States will have cancer in their lifetime. Summer Yang tells us more.
Cancer is a deadly disease. About 1.2 million new cancer cases are diagnosed in the U.S. annually, and about 564,000 Americans will die of it each year. It means more than 1,500 people per day.
Well, with my form of cancer, the survival rate is really, really low. I mean, it's single digits for 1 year, and then to make it 3 years is like 0.05% of 1%. Make it to 3 years.
Cancer patients have to go through different kinds of treatments to ease cancer symptoms. One of the most common treatments that helps to cure cancer is radiation therapy.
In radiation therapy, we use high-energy X-ray or electron to damage the DNA of the cancer cell, and that's very, very effective, and it's a non-invasive. Sometimes we use the radiation only. Sometimes we combine with surgery or chemotherapy.
Radiation therapy, also known as radiotherapy, is a cancer treatment that uses high doses of radiation to kill cancer cells and shrinks tumors. When used to treat cancer, radiation therapy can cure cancer, prevent it from returning, or stop or slow its growth.
This is Summer Yang for Cougar News.
Is beauty an illusion? Some say beauty is dictated by the entertainment industry. Kate Malloy shows us how this issue is affecting students at COC.
According to DoSomething.org, approximately 91% of women are unhappy with their bodies and resort to dieting to achieve their ideal body shape. Unfortunately, only 5% of women naturally possess the body type often portrayed by Americans in the media. According to some COC students, we are taught what is beautiful on the outside and not what is on the inside.
Whether it's movie stars or just magazines, all of us do see that standard image in our mind, of the tall, like 6'2" male with ripped abs, or, the female with the hourglass-shaped body.
How we view ourselves is probably the people around us, like family and friends, and like specifically the entertainment industry.
Body fame or body shame? LA, home of Hollywood films, modeling, and beautiful people. Is it really based on talent or plastic Barbie doll figures, according to some?
When I went to fill out modeling applications, the questionnaires were like all about your weight, your waist size, hip size, and how tall you were. I think that females compare themselves to what's being looked at in magazines. You can edit it and filter it, so it's not even a real you, even on social media.
Some COC students say beauty is not long legs, loads of makeup, but rather
individuality.
Captivating.
This is Kate Malloy for Cougar News.
And now Emily has what's trending.
Thank you. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is facing increasing pressure after another woman has come forward with allegations of sexual misconduct. The original accuser, Christine Basley Ford, has agreed to testify before the Senate that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her at a party while they were both minors. Kavanaugh fully denies the allegation, and President Trump has expressed his support for the nominee. Kavanaugh's confirmation is considered pivotal as it would establish a long-term conservative majority on the High Court. Political differences have caused awkward Thanksgiving dinners for many families, but for one family in Arizona's 4th Congressional District, this November is going to be especially tense. 6 siblings of Republican congressional candidate Paul Gosar have appeared in an ad endorsing his Democratic opponent David Brill. The siblings have previously signed an open letter denouncing their brother after he gave an interview that blamed violence at the Charlottesville Nazi rally on wealthy Democratic donor and Holocaust survivor George Soros. Representatives Gosar released a tweet in response to his family's criticism, calling them leftists who put politics over family, and saying that Stalin would be proud of their actions. Summer may be over, but the Santa Clarita Valley has yet escaped the heat of wildfires. This week, the Charlie Fire burned over 3,300 acres in the Castaic and surrounding areas. Los Angeles County Fire Department officials reported that as of Monday afternoon, the blaze was 50% contained. Evacuation orders were issued for as many as 30 homes along San Francisco Canyon Road. One firefighter was injured while battling the flames. And that's what's trending. I'm Emily Mahler for more stories in and around Santa Clarita Valley. You could check us out at cougarnews.com. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Emily. Construction workers can be seen on the COC Canyon Country campus as a new building is in the works. But what exactly are they working on? I have more with the project superintendent.
At the College of the Canyons in Canyon Country, there will be a new science center expected to be complete in spring of 2020. This 4-story science building will bring opportunities for both students and staff. Specific details about the new center, like how many classrooms or labs there will be, is information that is unavailable at this time. However, this new center can guarantee to bring further advancements. The project superintendent also notified me of other projects in the process as well.
We're also building a central plant which will provide heating and cooling for the science building and for the 2 other future buildings that they're going to have here. We're also going to modify some of the site, some of the storm drain, and that kind of thing.
While construction continues on the Science Center at the Canyon Country campus, be aware of temporary parking and road closures. College of the Canyon students at both locations are looking forward to the new Science Center. I spoke with one student from the Valencia campus named RJ Bonaldi, and he says that if anything can bolster the learning of science, it would be a new building for all students to use. For Cougar News, I'm Elena Thacker.
Dr. Diane Van Hoek has a new accolade to add to her long-storied career. Noah LaBelle has the story.
The College of the Canyons in Canyon Country.
Over the last 30 years, College of the Canyons has grown into an expansive 2-year university. It is one of California's top community colleges, primarily due to the efforts of the school's chancellor, Dr. Diane Van Hoek.
The biggest achievement, I think, in my time at College of the Canyons and actually in public education is it has been and it continues to be every day to build possibilities for people, for human beings. It's to enhance the chances that they have to pursue their own dreams and to succeed.
Last Thursday, Dr. Van Hoek's dedication to the school was honored with the naming of Dr. Diane G. Van Hoek Drive on the main road at the Canyon Country campus.
I really appreciate the fact that the drive was chosen instead of lane or way or street, because drive to me is a really complex noun that results when many entities come together and when commitment to change things occurs.
So next time you're on Canyon Country campus, look out for Dr. Diane G. Van Hoek Drive. For Cougar News, I'm Noah LaBelle.
Coming up next on Cougar News, why 400 people made 571 blankets for children in the Golden Valley this past Saturday.
And East Coast met West Coast at this month's Census Block Party. Stay tuned.
In a home fire, can your family safely escape in 2 minutes?
I heard my oldest son holler for mommy, and all I could see was smoke. The boys, we never really worked with them, I guess, on telling them what to do if there's a fire. We lost our child. We lost everything.
Make sure you can safely escape a fire. Practice your 2-minute drill. Test your smoke alarms monthly. Make your plan today.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
This is Cougar News.
A COC professor hosts a hands-on workshop detailing the importance of STEM in children's education. Ashley Batista gave us a look at what her methods entail.
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Also known as STEM, was one of the many free workshops that the College of the Canyons Foster and Kinship Care Education Program provide. The program hosts a couple of workshops a month at various locations throughout the Santa Clarita Valley. College of the Canyons professor Lisa Prince explains the importance of STEM in children's education.
It's something that we need to look at, especially when it comes to the earlier skills. These are foundational skills that children are going to need no matter where they go in life. And they need to be taught it at a very young age. The earlier they're introduced to problem solving, and that means that we can't do everything for them. We have to allow them sometimes to experience some level of not success, or what some call a failure, so that they can work through that, so that they have the determination to be able to get to that actual level of higher thinking.
Lisa had all of her guests participate in various hands-on activities. She also provided each of them with useful information on what they, as parents, can do to help at home.
And sadly, when processes get a little bit difficult or challenging, a lot of people step back from that because they don't have the skills to work through some of the actual processes that it requires to do these activities.
The next workshop will be held tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. in room 222 at the University Center. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Ashley Bautista.
The access to information at the touch of our hands is amazing, but are we relying on the internet too much? Michael Estrada gives us more on the Google effect.
Technology has given us access to tools and information 24/7. But there is an issue with our dependency that has scientists researching what is known as digital amnesia. Studies have shown that while people are not losing the ability to retain information, we are actively relying on the internet to remember for us. And college students are no different.
I think it's a problem with our generation right now because kids tend to forget things a lot. They don't really put in the time and effort to try and study. about the subject when they're like, hey, I can just look it up and I don't need to study about it. I can just trim it down, just look it up, figure it out right away.
I think it definitely is significant, especially with newer generations. I can definitely see it affecting my own life. More so less with the things that obviously I have an interest in or is related to my major, but if it's something that I typically don't use in my everyday life, like anything that has to do with history or anything that's like not part of my everyday life, I can definitely see myself having to rely on Google or search engines to sort of like retain, or anything that has to do with like spelling.
If you find yourself forgetting things often, a change of study habits might help. Copying things down in a second notebook instead of looking them up online, or writing things down in a daily planner will help you retain information much easier. For Cougar News, I'm Mike Estrada.
COC students have mixed feelings about the current attendance policy. Some feel it should be more accommodating, while others feel students should be more proactive. Candace Williams tells us more.
College of the Canyon students are an important factor. They are the reason as to why teachers and professors are here. Students now are taking an issue with the attendance policy and feel as though they need to have more time for absence.
For the classes, and we're the ones who like attend the classes, but like at the same time, I guess we like attend the classes to like learn, and I guess like if we don't attend the classes, we can't really like learn, and so I think there are probably some requirements that need to be set just to like make sure you actually get the education that you pay for.
And faculty member also weighed her thoughts not only on attendance but also the hybrid classes.
Because obviously professors, you create more work for them if you miss a certain part of class, and then it also creates more stress on the student and it limits access if you make it so that they have a hard, fast rule. So I would say, there's reasonable accommodation.
Well, I think online classes in general are growing. I mean, even in the high school, you've got high school, elementary school, you have more online options because every kid learns differently. And I think for anyone who's a teacher, the whole goal is we want kids to be successful. So I know online, maybe that works. It just depends on the classes. I think classes like film, it's a little harder because you need kids to come together and learn to work together. But if you have a lecture-based class, I think it absolutely can work where you have an online component along with the lecture time.
For more on this subject, visit www.cougarnews.com and visit all of our social media websites.
Students at COC get a new glimpse on nature from a different perspective in art. Sophia Lesios has the story.
On Wednesday, September 12th, Pearl Shung held a Q&A of her art show, Two Face, One Die, in the art exhibit at College of the Canyons. She explains to the students how painting has been meaningful to her throughout her whole life.
Painting has always been the spine, the backbone of my practice. And I will mostly work, like daily I'll kind of work in painting. So sometimes it's just technical experiment to all my work. I'm not romanticizing like the idea about like nature as being something that is outside of ourselves. So I'm actually like chewing on the idea of a human relationship to nature.
Pearl gives us a little more insight on her process throughout the last 10 years of her pieces.
So I would say that an overarching idea that has been keeping my focus all these years is just thinking about ourselves in relationship to nature or the natural world or the landscape. And so through the years, my kind of thinking about it has evolved, and also my kind of strategy of how to make art about it has evolved.
Pearl's art show, Two Face, One Die, runs through September 29th, open to the public. For more information, visit canyons.edu. I'm Sophia Lesios from Cougar News.
This past Saturday, students across the Santa Clarita Valley took up their sewing machines for Project Linus's Make a Blanket Day. Here's Valeria Vasquez with more.
400 people, 571 blankets.
all brought together by Project Linus, an elective and club at Academy of the Canyons Middle College High School here in Santa Clarita.
So Project Linus, we're a nonprofit organization that specializes in delivering handmade blankets to critically ill and traumatized children.
I became involved in Project Linus when my son was born. He was born with pneumonia and he was in the NICU. And I didn't get to see him for 2 days. So when I did, he was wrapped in a knitted blanket with Project Linus poem and tags on it. And it really impacted me because I could not believe someone would knit a blanket for a child they were never gonna meet. So once he got better, I started trying to make a tied fleece blanket because I wanted to pay back the chapter that gave a blanket to my son. And I got such a rush out of it that I started telling my students about it. And in 3 months, we made 110 blankets to hand back to the chapter that donated the one. And I realized we could totally do this out here. And so I opened a chapter out here in Santa Clarita Valley. And that's how it all got started.
Make a Blanket Day is a biannual event in which the community comes together and we teach them how to make blankets. They make blankets to give back to our community, and in turn we give it out to like the local homeless shelters and to just the different organizations around the SCV Valley.
Sometimes it's a cape, it's a shelter, it's a fort, it's all these things. And it's a chance to kind of give a hug wrapped up in a really beautiful piece of fleece.
For Cougar News, I'm Valeria Vasquez.
Do you remember the last movie you got at a Blockbuster? Reporter Emily Mahler is here to remind you of the films you may have not seen since your childhood.
This week, I decided to rewatch movies I haven't seen since I was a child. Do they still live up to the hype I kept after all these years? I'm Emily Mahler. Let's get started. In 1982, Steven Spielberg released E.T. the Extraterrestrial to high acclaim. The movie about a little boy in a newly divorced home discovering an alien in his backyard has become the 4th highest grossing movie of all time in the United States. This was a movie that was always on my Blockbuster list. The film brought tears to my eyes. It is much more than a story about an alien landing on Earth, and it took me a rewatch a little older to understand. Another film by Steven Spielberg that I ruined multiple VHS tapes of is Hook. This 1991 film is a sequel to J.M. Barrie's 1911 novel Peter and Wendy, starring Robin Williams and Maggie Smith. When Peter and his family go to visit his adopted grandmother Wendy, he must face the facts of his childhood to save his children from his nemesis, Captain Hook. This film is a fun, uplifting adventure, and it's all I remember it to be. The Little Rascals is a movie from 1994 based on a short series of films called Hal Roach's Our Gang. This film follows the members of the He-Man Woman Haters Club, especially Alfalfa, who falls in love and would do anything for Darla. Betraying his friends and his love might work out in the end. This film is very cute and enjoyable, but there isn't any significant context to the film. This is a movie I would leave to my childhood's past. That's it for this week's Cougar Review. See you next time.
Fright Fest is full of screams, scares, and horror. This year they look to do it with a newly designed maze, Hellfest. Reporter Andrea Sabidra gives us an inside look on what to expect inside the mazes this year.
Fright Fest previews a maze this year around the new movie called Hellfest. The maze was quite popular because of the new movie coming out in a few weeks. I spoke to 2 guests about the maze. Here's what they had to say.
Honestly, it was pretty creepy. I mean, there was a lot of sections in there that kind of make your skin crawl, so I was like, ooh.
I'm planning on seeing it either way.
Along with Fright Fest being open, other attractions such as the infamous Superman ride is still open, and next to it is City Under Siege. Another scary place to visit is the Witch's Lair, which has jump scares all around the corners of the maze. Another pretty creepy maze that is new this year at Fright Fest is Sewer of Souls.
Camera.
Fright Fest is open every weekend starting September 15th until October 28th, and open from 10:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sundays. Until next time, this is Andrew Speecher reporting for Cougar News.
Vibrant colors decorated the streets of Newhall over the weekend during the Santa Clarita Chalk Festival. Reporter Patrick Pamanian has more.
Here on Main Street, Newhall, professional and amateur artists combined their talents at the 2018 Santa Clarita Chalk Festival. A 3-day event, this community-driven art showcase featured inspired pieces under the theme Wonder, Wit, and Whimsy. Returning after a 3-year hiatus, we can see how much this event positively impacts our community.
I am so excited because it'll grow, and it'll grow, and it'll grow, and it'll grow. And it's a great thing for small businesses here because people come, it's hot, they come in, and then they get water, and then everyone benefits from this. And it's also a huge deal because Santa Clarita doesn't have a lot of, like, I would say art galleries, and it's really important that we grow our art community. Not just visual art, but performing art, music, video. So I'm really excited for this because this will potentially make everything grow.
With dozens of organizations and various professional artists backing this wonderful event, we can only look forward to seeing more masterpieces at the next Chalk Festival. For Cougar News, I'm Patrick Pamanian.
There's no need to fly to Coney Island to experience a block party that will heighten your senses. Thursdays at Newhall presents an evening of entertainment and perception. Let's take a look. Senses, an event for the eyes to see and for the ears to hear, is debuted every third Thursday of the month in Old Town Newhall. There's activities for the whole family, even our more extended family at that.
Basically what we do is just bring families and the community out for a fun night. Every month has a different theme, and it's really to promote economic development in Old Town Newhall.
With live performances, photo booths, art exhibitions, food trucks, and games, there's a lot to keep everyone occupied. These events not only provide entertainment, but they play a bigger role of economic advancement in our community.
It really just promotes a better quality of living for our taxpayers and our citizens and those who live here. It makes it a fun place and a community that you want to be a part of.
Senses will feature their last event of this year on October 18th on Main Street in Newhall. For more information, log on to thursdaysatnewhall.com. For Cougar News, I'm Leah Rossell.
Hot rods and classic sports cars came together at Route 66 to raise funds for a different kind of ride. Aaron Landon has more.
Car enthusiasts from all across the valley came together at Route 66 to celebrate their love of vintage cars. But there was more to this automotive event than what meets the eye.
It's such a wonderful way to be able to bring everyone together. It's great. You can't buy this much fun, entertainment, and camaraderie bringing people together like this. It's incredible.
Aside from glamorous automobiles, the Route 66 car show raises funds for safe rides, which is crucial for keeping the kids of Santa Clarita safe.
The car show is actually our main fundraiser. We partnered with George, who is the owner of Route 66. He heard about our cause and really wanted to help us out, so he throws a car show and he gives us the profits, which is really nice. It's pretty much our only fundraiser, so it's kind of keeping us afloat.
Everybody that enters their car in the car show, they pay $10. They pay it directly to Safe Rides. They don't pay it to Route 66. We don't collect the money. We have nothing to do with the money. It helps them out. It really does.
Car show entries come in, and we're just asked for a $10 donation per car. They sell raffle tickets, earn money that way, and sometimes they'll sell some baked goods or what have you. And then all the proceeds go to Safe Rides to help benefit and help run their organization to keep kids from going out and driving when they shouldn't be driving. Santa Clarita Contemporary Car Club started this show, and then we were a major donor to Safe Rides. I appreciate all the work that everybody puts into them. If it's American and it's got a V8 in it, then I'm all thumbs up.
What do you love most about it?
The people, the enjoyment, the excitement, the live music, and all the cool cars.
What we have is car shows like this that brings out this car culture here. And this is a phenomenal way to do it, is to bring people together.
The Route 66 car show brings people together and is essential to safe ride service to the city. But it would not spark interest if it wasn't for this incredible array of classic American automotives. There you have it. Beneath the cars and all the glamour lies taking care of the community. I'm Aaron Landon and you're watching Cougar News.
The fight for LA. Football fans were treated to a sensational duel at the Coliseum as the Chargers and Rams met on the field for the first time in 4 years. The Rams came out on top, 35-23. But long before the game went final, our George Ventura got to soak in a festive atmosphere.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Battle of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Rams versus the LA Chargers. A key matchup in the week 3 of the NFL. Rams right now are 2-0 undefeated, and Chargers coming in off that win versus the Buffalo Bills. We are here live at the Los Angeles Coliseum.
The fans are calling it a battle for LA, but before the battle, there's a big tailgate party. Fans who attended the game had the opportunity to enjoy music, food, games, and of course, drinks. Over 52,000 fans in attendance for the highly anticipated matchup. Fans share their thoughts.
We're feeling the vibe, and the energy is so dope right now. Like, you gotta be here. I wish if you guys were all here live right now, you guys could feel it, because the energy is just like so extreme for the Rams. I'm sorry for Chargers. We can see you guys every once in a while, but
got it.
Hey, Rams are killing it.
They were in San Diego. I went to go see them there. Now my dream came true. Now they're in LA. Back home. They're back home.
Meet George and Adam, who are Ram fans all the way from Scotland and are now finally getting to see their team in person.
First started watching it in 1980 when we were showing the Super Bowl only, and then I just liked the Rams colours, so I picked them as my team, and I've been watching it ever since. This is my first time in America to see the game, yeah.
And as you can tell, fans are extremely excited for today's matchup for the Battle of Los Angeles. Chargers versus Rams. For Cougar News, I'm George Ventura.
It doesn't take a holiday for Agua Dulce to celebrate its community. Elizabeth Medina shines the light on small-town magic.
It's a different kind of tune.
If you live in Valencia or in the Valley, you don't see this kind of thing.
It's a little bit of happiness with some wacky costumes.
We just wanted to do something light and fun, and especially in the place of the world right now, we wanted something that kind of brought light and peace and love and hope back to kind of the center stage.
Center stage was Agua Dulce's 48th year tradition. A parade showcasing the heart of this little town.
We have been coming ever since. This is a great, wonderful, sweet, very family-friendly little parade, and it's just a feel-good place to be.
What began as word of mouth,
For as small as this community is, there's still a ton of people that come out here.
Quickly grew leaps and bounds.
And people come in from Acton and other parts, and friends of family come out here and you know, kind of get the small town vibe.
A vibe you can feel in your bones. The long-time tradition reminds you of home.
We all try to hold on to it as tight as we can, and just, you know, and we've got a lot of out-of-towners too. A lot of Santa Clarita folks come over the hill and come to enjoy it. So.
After the parade, folks headed down the street for a good time.
When everybody's done here, they walk down to the fair, and the fair has food and music and booths and games for kids, and lasts till about midnight or so.
But at the end of the day, it's all about togetherness.
This is just small town family fun.
For Cougar News, I'm Elizabeth Medina.
That does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Leah Rosil. Remember, you can catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Elena Thacker. You can also send us news, tips, and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.